I did my video yesterday and somebody, got a little bit annoyed in the comment section about what I was talking about Patrick Coffin, saying, look, he's a good guy, why are you slating him? And Patrick Coffin replied with a tweet today. And I just thought, we need to give encouragement to Catholics in this time of confusion. And it's not just confusion in the church, it's confusion in the world. And this is a time of preparation, of formation. When I was growing up, we would have listened to as kids the histories of our family that goes back many hundreds of years, what Nugents did, where they were placed. We remember in the last century, in the Second World War, a battle in Monte Cassino in Italy, which is a Benedictine monastery, very, very famous, that was destroyed during the Second World War, a battle between when the Allies were trying to defeat the Germans in Italy. And it's an amazing story, but in our family we remembered the battle under Cassino, under that hill, San Germano, Magano. We remember that battle in the 1800s, in which Laval Nugent defeated the Horseman of Europe, Murat, Napoleon's brother-in-law, who was the King of Naples. Laval Nugent went in there with 8,000 soldiers from the Austrian army to defeat Napoleon, to restore the Pope to Rome, Pius VII. And these were difficult times. We remember when, for example, our monasteries were closed and William Nugent had to leave Fore Abbey. His crozier is in the Irish Museum today. So, every generation was faced with cataclysmic difficulties and problems. I mean, what would Catholics have felt to see the Pope removed from Rome? What did Catholics felt in Ireland to see all of your monasteries closed, all your churches, the whole Catholic fabric taken away from you? Because that's what happened. That's what my family had to live through, to see, in many ways, the Catholic fabric, the stability taken away. And it forms you, your history teaches you, and in many ways, a lot of Catholics are kind of concerned today. We see the Catholic fabric being taken away again in Ireland. We see monasteries being closed, communities being closed, the secularization, a very difficult time. And it's a call for preparation. And that's what we need to do. If you're a Catholic leader, you have to prepare lay Catholics to love the faith. And my advice to anybody going to traditional Latin Mass, to traditional communities, is always go as a sign of unity to strengthen the church, to renew the church. The Pope isn't going to destroy the traditional Latin Mass. He would be crazy to turn around to these communities to destroy them. And we need to show the Holy Father that, we love the unity in the church, that we're not here to cause division and disunity, and we're here to strengthen the church. So now is the time to form Catholics. And the only way to form Catholics, truly form them, is to be saints and to play the long game, guys. To play the long game. When William Nugent left the monastery of Fore, who would have thought that, 300 years later, he'd be defeating the King of Naples? Who would have thought 500 years later, there'd be some Irish blogger and his family reaching people all around the world? Played the long game. We go back to Guibert Nugent, one of the oldest, 800 years old Benedictine blogger, really. One of the oldest members in the family. Back in France. We have a long history. We remember where we came from. And, this is what we need to teach Catholics today. Don't be afraid. And I echo that because John Paul II used to say it all the time. Don't be afraid. And don't ever fall into the trap of disunity or despondence or fear or anxiety. It's not from God. So, I do wish Patrick well, but my advice is always be a saint. And saints, you just call on heaven to come down. But sometimes in the midst of confusion, it's not up to us to understand everything that's going on, in this situation. It's up to us to trust, and if God is really with us, he'll help us. It's up to us to trust. And in this time of confusion, we have to have obedience. Sometimes the church will make decisions that we don't agree with. They'll close a community. They'll, say, which they can legally do, which they did before this confusion. They've done this through the centuries. Sometimes the church will make decisions that, we don't agree with. But it's up to us to trust in our Lord in this moment of time, and to form saints and to strengthen the church. This is really important, to strengthen the church. If we're traditional Catholics, we're going to traditional Latin Mass, it is to strengthen the church, never division. Don't underestimate the capacity of what our Lord can do if we're humble. It's really important. So that's why I'm asking Catholics in the English-speaking world, please strengthen the church. Play the long game. The key to this crisis is family. It really is. Families and communities, the key. And I've seen this when I was looking around Ireland and looking at, God, what is going on with the faith? And you go into the Society of St. Pius X communities, and what you see are families. And you see the formation of families. And you see the formation of kids. Now, are they perfect? No. We've seen Church Militant point this out. But you build on your mistakes. You renew. You learn. And this is what we need to do, not over mercy ourselves, but also not be so strict that, there needs to be this balance between mercy and strictness and rigidity. And this is where the traditional movement are getting it right, is they're focusing on families, future formation of families, of kids, communities. And it's really, really, really important. And so that's where really my key message, be a saint, focus on families, group together. I see all the Americans, you're putting out tweets about Target and beers and all this. Form Catholic co-ops, form Christian co-ops. Americans have 80 million people, 80 million purchasing power. Form Christian co-ops with Christian values. Group together. Stand together for what you believe as Christian values. Because at the end of the day, we don't believe in Christian teaching because it's Christian. We believe because it's the truth. A marriage between a man and a woman to foster, to have kids, to form families is true, and it's Christian. Stability in a family is true. It's what God designed for us. So this is the message: be saints, guys, and don't divide the church. Don't be calling out at all that we don't have a pope, because I guarantee you, once you step over that mark, there will never be a pope that people will accept in some groups. Once you lead people out of the church, it's very hard to lead them back in. There will never, and I'll say this to say the Vacantus groups, they're all different ones of them. If your position was so strong, why can't you all get together and agree what it is you're agreeing on? They can't. Divisions come, and they will never accept to come back in. We've seen this with, I've seen this with the Polish Catholic Church in America. You see priests going to them to get ordained. You're so Catholic, you're going off to that group, and it's division. It's a temptation. It's my will be done. And if one thing in the spiritual life, obedience is key. You know, obedience, humility, poverty, chastity, these virtues are key. And this is what God will use. You know, we don't have all the answers at the moment. Us individually as bloggers. So there's no point in saying we do. But God will lead us where he wants to bring us. And that fuel, Hope is Fuel, that conference. If I could give you one message, focus on your families. Focus on your kids. Focus on catechism and faith formation. Build strong, traditional Catholic communities. You know, there's a guy in Canada, Kennedy Hall, brilliant guy, very balanced, young man with kids, you know, and he's hitting all of the right notes. Focus on families. That's where the traditional movement needs to go. Don't be overly rigid, but don't be overly merciful either. Focus on families. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.